Alright, today I'm going to review Girl in a Spider's Web. So this is the fourth book in the Millennium series, which was written by this author who unfortunately died in 2007. And he wrote 3 books, and this is the first book, the fourth book, written by a new author. Similar style of Lizbeth Sanders, who's this girl who obviously has this bitter grudge against guys, right? Don't screw around with Lizbeth Sanders. And the other key figure is the journalist Blumkist, and he always writes the stories of Lizbeth Sanders and helps her kind of investigate her case. He kind of has this investigative, thing, being a reporter, obviously. So as a story, I would say it comes together pretty well. I would say, there's a lot of a mystery of where the story's going. I don't like, the one thing I didn't like was the marketing. The marketing, they give you like the whole plot away. Well, like that's really stupid. If you give the whole plot away, then there's no mystery. I know they have to sell the movie, but they could have done it a little more sneakier and had her twin sister not as obvious in the plot. It might have been more interesting. I'm sure the book reads a lot better than the movie does for that sake, just because the marketing kind of ruins the whole plot of the movie. So basically, Lizbeth Sanders, she's minding her own business, and she gets set up for this job, and the job is to hack and steal this computer program out of the NSA. So she's able to do that, but the NSA tracks it back to her house, right? And they immediately fly out this special guy, Ed Needham, who's one of the specialists who has all these technical skills to kill people as well as program. Which, maybe they have these guys, but it makes more sense you either have a guy with technical skills or killing skills. They don't usually combine the skills, right? I mean, they're probably skilled a little bit on both, but anyway. So that's a little bit of a jump. So he flies out, he's looking for her, and she's trying to track down at the same time the guys that stole, because then she's jacked for the computer program. So she's trying to recapture the computer program. She's like, oh my, she doesn't know where to start. She got a picture of the guy. The guy has no trace at all, and that's really strange, right? Because she's a really good computer hacker. And so she figures out they have to go back to the original scientist. And so she put a spy camera on him, tracks him down. These guys capture him. And eventually, they recover everything. Nice end of the plot. But, it's pretty fun, twist and turn movie. Again, they gave away a little bit too much in the marketing, so what I'm saying is exactly what's in the commercial, but unfortunately that kind of spoils, I would say, a lot of the story, because in a mystery you really don't want to know what happens. You kind of want to leave, like when they did the marketing for Bad Times at El Royale, they didn't tell you exactly what was going to happen in the last third act, so you really in the third act you're like, what the hell is this? Right? And so they should have done that. Like, they should have kept the twin sister a secret, and then you'd be like, oh my god, it's a twin sister. That would have been a total shocker, right? But since they kind of take away some of the best part of why, that's the whole plot of the movie, it's just kind of this, there's this vengeance twist. So that I thought was really stupid on the marketing side. They kind of ruined the film. They deviated a little bit from the book, because in the book, obviously, the journalist writes a story, clears Lizbeth Sanders' name, and that she's in the clear again, right? And so they changed into that story. I won't tell you what they changed, but because it's already enough secrets out there. It was really interesting, the dichotomy between Lizbeth Sanders, and then she has a secret sister, and then she says she's dead, but she's not really dead, right? And then it turns out she's her dad and her sister are psychopaths. How crazy is that? But on the other hand, it makes you kind of, it really builds a lot of character to Lizbeth Sanders. I mean, how would she be such a crazy, well-trained killer? Yeah, if your dad's a psychopath and he's like this kind of mob figure in the background early in the film, you're like, oh my god, right? So, I mean, that's pretty well put together. The scenery shot in Sweden. They have some kind of surprise, really good chase scenes and, counter moves. Obviously, they're pretty good, 3-act story. At the end of the second act, of course, it's the climax where you think everything's completely lost, and they turn it around in the end. So that from a story standpoint, that works really well. I just wish they hadn't given away so much in the marketing. You know, good sets, good stunts, pretty good mystery. If you don't know the movie, if you go in blind, it'd be an awesome movie. But, you know, since they kind of ruined it with the marketing, as far as this getting tired of like the fourth of the 3 series, you know, it might be getting old, but it's kind of like, it has this, you know, it's just a fun kind of mystery chase scene, you know, thing. So it's a really fun thing, similar to the Mission Impossible series. So you can just keep making a lot of those before people get bored, I think. The other thing I would have changed about the movie is they had, in the beginning, they have this kind of James Bond sequence, which is just this weird, you know, they have all the James Bond, and there are girls floating around and special effects between the very start with the titles, so they filled in with this filler, and they did the same thing, and it's like, doesn't add anything to the film. I would have just scrapped that whole thing, done a simple, you know, something more simpler. You don't have to have all that special effects. It doesn't add anything to the movie. It kind of adds a little bit, but I think they could have done maybe more explaining the program. As far as in the credits, they could have shown the program and the development, and, you know, how it gets into the hands of the NSA. Just really quick speed through that plot. That would have been a lot more interesting, I think. Or talk about how this device is so crazy and dangerous. That would have been very interesting, maybe. But again, they kind of give that, you know, a lot of that away in the beginning, so you don't. So a lot of the mysteries demystified right in the beginning. It would have been more interesting maybe to see that the program was more nefarious than it was. Kind of in the Mission Impossible, where they steal the double agents, and then it turns out it's a false list, and they play back and forth with this list. And some of the agents that are working for Tom Cruise are good and bad, and they turn, and because they're, you know, thrown out CIA agents, so they're kind of dubious trust factor. So, you know, overall, I think it's a fun film, but I mean, you could probably just wait till DVD for this film. I mean, it has some fun stuff, but, you know, a lot of movies nowadays, it looks great on your HDTV, so why bother going to the cinema? But that's my recommendation for this film. Hope you guys like it. Give it a thumbs up. If you want to recommend me, you can recommend me below. And I'll see you on the next movie review. Thanks, guys.